All right, welcome everyone to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway and your channel for community support, help, love, friendship, and knowledge. We know that for many of you, this news has come as a great shock to you, and for others, we may have already sensed his passing. Tonight, we are honoring one of our own, Dalibor Suchy. Dalibor was instrumental in contributing to this show's creation. He rarely missed an episode in 4 years of broadcasting. With his willingness to help others and his love of this soul tribe, he helped accomplish our goal. Without him, this show may not have been possible. So many of you are curious as to how he passed. As you all know, he was a heavy smoker and he began experiencing difficulty in his breathing. His COPD finally took his life. Both Teresa and I had an interesting experience with him the night of his passing. But before we get into that, welcome everyone. It is really good to see you all here, all your love comments, all your well wishes have not gone unnoticed. We appreciate all of you who shared this out. This is really important for us to honor him. He is our brother, our friend, and our peer, and we have great love and respect for him, as many of you in the chat does too. So let's go ahead and acknowledge everyone in chat tonight. You guys are really, yeah. Okay, Jackie J, good to see you. Scotty Boy, always a pleasure. Lindsay, good to see you here as well. Steam Crunk. Steam Crunk says he grew up with Dalibor in New Jersey and haven't been able to raise him on Skype for weeks. This breaks my heart. We were best friends for decades. Well, I feel for you, most definitely. Chloe, good to see you as well. Let's continue here. I'm just scrolling through because I have a lot of repeats. Susie Q. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for all you did to share this out. You are one incredible lady, that's for sure. So much love and appreciation for you for doing what you did. So thank you for that.
And Nina.
And Nina as
Nina
well.
the
I'm
Mystic
getting
as well.
there. Yep, getting there. Al Ciriello, it's good to see you as well. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us tonight. Nina the Mystic. Again, Nina, thank you so much for sharing and putting this out there and alerting people to it. We greatly appreciate it, and love and favor to you as well. Let's see. Elderberry, good to see you, Barry Chad. And of course, Mary Wins. I hope you enjoyed a really nice birthday. Happy belated birthday to you, Mary Wins. And thank you for always being such an amazing moderator in our channel. We greatly appreciate you as well. As we do with Lucky Stone. Lucky Stone, good to have you here. I know this was a great big shock to everybody. We were shocked as well. So we're all in the same boat here, so to speak.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have anybody else. I don't want to miss anyone tonight still. Oh, Steve, good to have you with us as well. Yeah, Steve says, hello to everyone. I'm so happy to have reaped so much wisdom from Dalibor. I will miss his perspectives and wisdom he so freely shared. You're right. He sure did. Thank you for noting that, Steve. Hi, Robert V. It's good to have you here. How wonderful. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming in. I'm I think.
Claudette and Laurie Eldricken and
Okay.
Trina's in
Mhm.
there, Deborah Sloan. So
Wonderful.
hi,
Wonderful.
you guys.
Yep. Beloved Abstract, how are you tonight, my Captain Ego? How are you? Good to see you as well. Always here.
Yeah.
Charles, good to have you with us as well. We have
Mhm.
something very interesting at the end of this. You're going to be very interested in witnessing. Let's see. Did I miss anybody else, Teresa? There is a lot. Okay,
Sunset Dreamer, and
good to have you with us.
we got Laurie Eldricken,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
boy.
we got most everybody.
Okay.
Listen, if we've missed anybody, it's because there's so many of
There's
you.
just so many, yeah, but I think I pretty much got it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So we're looking good. Okay, you guys. So we've got a lot planned tonight. This is gonna go for quite some time. So if, stay with us as long as you want. Rewatch if you need to, but there's
yeah,
going to be some interesting things happening tonight. But
yeah.
before we do all that, really wanted to get to the panel. And we have Teresa, Sophia, the Adorables, who I call they're water and fire, but Jazz and Nick, I love you guys. They're so cute. And Grandpa Brian, who's always with us, unless he's traveling to Trina's or someone else's house to say howdy and hang out with
Right.
them.
That's right.
But it's all good.
Yeah.
So I thought tonight we'd give the Adorables a chance to express. You've been on the channel with us for about 8 months, and you dealt with Dalibor. How did this kind of affect you guys, and what did you think when you found out about his passing?
Go first for me.
It was very sudden.
Yeah,
I didn't know him that long, but from what I did see and from what I did know, he was really smart. He always had a lot to share. He was very authentic, wasn't afraid of being himself, and he always had a story, and he always had something like I always knew, like, I know a little bit about a lot of things, but he, like, every time I said, "Oh yeah, this little bit," he'd be like, "Oh yeah, did you know blah 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 blah," and he would just it was
really expand on it, huh?
yes, and I am going to miss those conversations. But yes, it was very sudden, and it was very um I still don't know how to feel about it, so I'm working through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are, yeah, most definitely. And everyone grieves in their own way, but it's important to grieve. That process is really part of being a human being. So, what say you, Nick?
Yeah, we didn't get to know him as in depth as you guys did because it hasn't even been a year since we've been here yet. But I am glad that I was still able to meet him. And I'm
Yeah.
sure if I go in past episodes, I'll still be able to learn from him, even though he's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the cool part about this is that his image and his personality and who he was online was exactly who he was in person, you guys. He was very true and authentic. And he really loved you guys. He loved everybody in chat. He loved everybody on the panel. And, it's just the guy was completely and totally genuine in my mind. And he
Yeah, that
exuded
he
that,
was
yeah, at all times.
one of
Sophia,
a kind.
how about you? How do you feel about all this? What's your take on it?
Um, without getting too deep, because I really want to wait for my turn, because I have a little something pulled together.
Okay.
But I felt something shift, and this is the part of my gig where I want to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But until we had evidence, it was just like one of your best friends going in, for surgery, and all you could do is sit in the waiting room and be like, man.
Yeah, wait for news.
Yeah, but he was very instrumental in helping me get comfortable behind the camera, which I had no idea that then what was gonna transpire, because that's what he was always into,
Yeah,
getting
very Chad's favorite saying.
right, exactly,
Mhm.
and it's just the connection's still there. It's just different,
Mhm.
and it's accepting what is, because hanging up, being attached to the outcome is where a lot of challenging things unfold. And out of respect for him and myself, I'm doing my very best to process this in a healthy fashion, although I hate it.
Mhm. Yeah. It's not one of the reasons why I would be here tonight, but it is what it is, and we're taking it seriously. That's for sure.
Necessary.
Yeah, Dalibor did speak 5 languages. That's correct.
Amazing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yep. How about you, Brian? First of all, Brian, you and Trina already had a sense that something was happening, and you put out a little prayer request for him, and so it was interesting that you two had picked up on it. So that was great.
Yeah, we picked up on that late September. And I think by then he was already trying to contact members just to let them know that, he had passed and he was okay. I mean, he was a brother. I love Dalibor. I mean, the knowledge that he gave to all of us is just, there's no price that you can put on that. If he agreed with something I said, I really felt like I said something because of the knowledge he had.
Yeah. A tremendous amount of respect for him and his intellect. But he's, in my opinion, he's still a highly intelligent being now, a spirit being, now that he's in spirit. Yeah.
And even with all that knowledge, he was still a down-to-earth person to me. Just a genuine, nice human being that really wanted to share his knowledge with people.
Yeah. Nice. So tonight we do have some pictures. We have some little snippets from some of our best shows with him. They're not real long. They're pretty quick, but it'd be fun to share. But Teresa, you had a unique experience, and I thought it would be a good idea for you to express that. I'll take over there if you don't mind.
Well,
Cool.
first, that's fine. First of all, before I jump in, one, I'm glad Al Ciarello made it in to here tonight. That's how we were introduced to Dalibor. The first time we ever met him was an interview with Al. Brought him in to introduce
We
him
had
to the
seen
Andromeda
Dalibor
team.
in Wayne Steiger's chat room and also in Brian Barnett's.
Yeah, but I had never talked to him before, exchanged
You
any
didn't,
information with him.
Yep.
And I had never really met him in person, and I didn't know what to do with him. He was so enigmatic. he was so, and I said, and the microphone was on it, and the people took it the wrong way. But I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where he fits. He's a jack of all trades. And so he labeled himself the jack of all trades, and he even said on Chorus program, I think the reason they had me on so often is because I know a little bit about everything, and that is absolutely true. But he actually knew a lot about a lot of things. So that was a wonderful introduction from Al, and he ended up being one of the best brothers I've ever had, and still have.
Yeah.
Okay? And also welcome Richard Watson and Steen Crunk. Scott, you're both friends that grew up with Dalibor in New Jersey, and he told me a lot about you guys and how you all used to hang out together. And I'm 8 years his senior. I used to hang out in the same areas. And some of the guys' names Dalibor recognized. So it turns out that maybe one of your older brothers or one of your friends was a friend of mine. So small world. Dalibor and I didn't even know each other. I didn't live in New Jersey. I just was a frequent visitor there. And I hung out with the Dunleavys and the Donovans and the O'Donohues. So they were all Irish, but some of them, and we went to the same bars. We visited the same clubs. We knew the schools, and we found out we really knew each other quite a bit. And There was a specific area we used to hang out in up in the mountains, for a little bit of fun. So that was pretty funny. Was it 6 degrees of separation, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, welcome, you guys, and we're glad you could be here to send off your brother Dalibor because yes, it's true, we loved him as much as you did
Mm-hmm.
and still do.
Yep.
So let me tell you what led up to this because we've held back as long as we could, and there was a reason we did that.
Yeah.
But the last contact that Dalibor and I communicated almost daily, sometimes only twice a week, sometimes daily, depended on what we were working on. And we used to bounce ideas off of each other all the time. We didn't always agree on everything. We had a different gnosis when it came down to certain science facts. As some of you saw, we would have some good debates, but they were always good and fun. And he'd have me on the floor laughing here in my bedroom half the time. We always managed to turn a negative into a positive or take opposite points of view and find a meeting ground where we could actually discuss it with the rest of the group in a positive way. So he was creative and never condemning, never judgmental. And so I had a really good time with him. Now, the last communication was on September 6th. It was the day of our show, and he had already missed one or two, and he said, I have to ask to be excused from this one again. I can't do it. I just can't make it. I'm very tired. This medicine, I think, is making me worse. He's talking about his inhalers, and one in particular was leaving him with some thought problems. He said he read up on it, and it can be a side effect of dementia. And having had a stroke earlier in his life, he was concerned that he might be susceptible to that continuation of that medication. But it was helping him keep his lungs open. He had reduced his smoking from a couple of packs a day down to 15 a day, but he was still smoking. And while he was doing this, his inhalers weren't doing the job anymore. So he thought maybe it was the medicine. He started taking Mullein tea and chewing eucalyptic cough drops. But it wasn't enough. It didn't work. I sent him Vicks inhaler that you put your face over, sent him the link for that, and told him I would have it shipped to him overnight. And he said he was using a nebulizer with baking soda, baking powder. That wasn't working either. And I suggested he get a hold of a lung specialist and get some medical attention as well as the holistic, because you have to taper off of these asthma medications, and it's not easy. It gives your body all kinds of crazy things go on. The shakes, chills, fever, everything, and he was having it all. So I said I would check back with him in a couple of days. I did, and there was no response. This was on the 8th of September, and I made several attempts between the 8th and the 14th to contact him in as many ways as I could, through his email, through his Minds platform, through his Instagram, not Instagram. He had a, what do you call it? I've just drawn a blank on it. It's like a Twitter account. It's for people who are in business.
Linked.
Professional link.
Linked?
Yeah, LinkedIn or something like that. Then I tried his phone number, which turns out it kept saying it was disconnected, and his Skype platform he had left and wasn't active for a long time. So, like many of you, I tried, and the phone number, it turns out it was saying it was disconnected because it has a country code attached to it. He actually purchased and registered that phone in the Czech Republic.
Mhm.
So I had to get through their long distance and get our carrier here at T-Mobile to connect me with the Czech Republic to get in that way, and they said the phone was not in service. See, by that time he had already passed away, and I didn't know it. Now, during that period between the 6th and the 14th, I believe it was on the afternoon of what would have been the 14th for us, which was a Saturday, I had awakened from a late afternoon nap, and people who know me know that I have some psychic abilities. But this one in particular was like nothing I've ever experienced, because when I woke up and sprung up out of the bed, I was choking and wasn't able to breathe, and I collapsed and hit the corner of my dresser and made my way over to this chair, and I was hyperventilating and couldn't catch my breath, and all I could see was white and around me, and I could see Dalibor's face, his eyes. Anyway, it turns out, long story short, I was feeling everything the man was going through in my own body. And that's something totally new to me. Never experienced that before. It was frightening, I'll admit. I didn't know how to handle it, I'll admit. I've not practiced this sort of thing. I do trance channel, Laurie will explain that later, but nothing like this. And so he was saying, I need help, I need help. He was fighting someone or a group of some people who were trying to put something over his face that he didn't want. And he said, my God, they're trying to kill me. I needed help. This isn't going to help me. This is going to kill me. And then I realized it was a ventilator, and he was afraid of being ventilated. Now, I couldn't help him in the state that I was in, so I, of course, reached out to Laurie. And Laurie can fill you in on what happened from there, because I don't have recollection of anything that was said between Dalibor and Laurie, but he utilized me to get through to her to get help, and he asked me to let him do that, and I said, of course. And as soon as I went into my relaxed state and let go and let him in, I went to a healing chamber myself, which is where I often go to. I often go somewhere to a healing realm when my body is being used. And that's okay, because I get healing from that while my body's being used. And Dalibor was able to get the help he needed from Laurie. And she can explain that. And when I came back out of it, she had to explain it to me, but I was okay. I was just shaken for a while. And we decided not to say anything until we could get confirmation on what I was seeing and what she experienced. And I began the research into the death records. And in the meantime, Grandpa Brian, contacts me and says he and Trina had seen something, and it's right, because what he was describing was exactly where I was with Dalibor.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were seeing the oxygen equipment as well. So that ended up being a confirmation for me, but we didn't feel it would be responsible to share any of this with the community just based on the psychic experience, because a lot of people in our community aren't connected in that way. And so we knew that some of you were going to need something a little bit more concrete. So we did some research, and I tell you, I really went through it, because Germany doesn't have a centralized collection system. They don't have a central database for deaths. And it depends on what region you're in and how many different local government offices there are, and it can take them months, if not years, to enter the data. So I wasn't getting any luck. I tried the Red Cross. I tried the local consulate. I tried everything, and went through numerous databases for death certificates. Couldn't find anything, and Laurie ended up stumbling across it last week, which was the confirmation we were looking for, and we shared that with Sophia and Nick after the show not last week, the week
Mm-hmm.
before. And so that's when we knew we had the kind of documentation you guys would need. So Laurie, you want to pick up on the details that happened during that session?
Yeah, real quick, I'll share with you. I found it on My Heritage, and the last show that we did, Sophia and I, we were, and Nick and Jasmine, Brian, you were out of town, so you weren't on the show, but I got this vibe to look it up. And when I did, I went to My Heritage. And if you look at this, you see Dalibor Suchy, circa 1968, USA, which he was born in the United States, to September 14th, 2024. And I'm not sure how this is pronounced, Nemeko which is Germany. Thomas Suchy is his brother who had passed prior to him. And Dalibor did a on legacy.com. He had done an obituary post for Thomas, but his family doesn't speak English. And so this was the record that I found. It does say obituary death certificate in that box right next to it. But this was the confirmation we needed so that we could present this to you all.
That one on top.
The
Yeah.
one on top. Yep, that's correct.
And the other thing is we needed to make sure it wasn't his father, because you see his father has been having a lot of physical problems, falling down a lot, needs health care. And
Well-
Dalibor's been helping, and he has the same name as Dalibor, but
Right,
it's
but
the birthday.
the birth date is different. This is
Right.
Dalibor. Dalibor is Dalibor Jr. Anyway, Dalibor
1968.
Suchy Jr. Yep. So that's what we found out on that. So to continue with your experience, Teresa, and this all happened so quick, there was no way to record it, and it wasn't
No.
something I wanted to record because it was quite the experience. Now, many of you know that I experienced my father's death, and through that experience, I realized what was happening, that when people are in that state, they just simply need permission. They need someone to say it's okay to go. So what happened was I could tell that he had entered Teresa's consciousness because Teresa wasn't there. And I could tell by the way he was moving and what he was saying. And he knew it was me. And so I calmly told him that it was okay to leave his body, that his body was no longer able to sustain him in a healthy way. And he was very concerned about his parents. He felt like he was leaving too soon. He did have an opportunity, and there was a span of time where he had an opportunity to come back if he wanted to, but he decided not to. So basically, I was just there as a calm, cool voice. I'd been through it before. I knew exactly what to do. And I just let him know that it was okay to release and let go, that his parents would be fine, that they're strong people, that they could handle it and that it would be okay, but that his body was giving out and that he didn't want to stay in that kind of a state. It wasn't.
Well, we connected with him a couple days later after that as well. And he led, what I was getting from it is that he went through a period of where he stopped panicking, he let them work on him, but his consciousness left his body behind, and he was in a temporary location getting healing from a spiritual perspective, but having to make decisions. He said, I'm having to make some decisions, and so will my parents. So I got the impression from that communication that he was actually in some type of a coma, and they were working on his lungs, but that they were too far along, and that he decided, okay, things might not be in the perfect state that I wanted to be in when I made this choice, but I'm going to make the choice to go ahead and release and completely go, because I think I've done all I can. So he was at that point, and I can confirm it in my own way, because through conversations I've had with him over the past couple of years, that's exactly what he's doing. You guys who know him well know what he was trying to do to consolidate all of his properties and relocate his whole entire family, to move them all into one house where he could keep an eye on everyone, and they would have each other to support. And he wanted to be in the Czech Republic. So he was in the middle of doing all this with his finances when this hit. So it was at the worst possible time. So that's why he was feeling like he wasn't finished. But the truth is he laid the foundation, and they should be okay with what he's laid out. And I don't know that because I don't know the family, and I don't know him the way you guys know him. But I think he feels now that he can release and let go. And he came in for a couple sessions with us after that, and wants everyone here to know he's always here for you. All you have to do is reach out to him, think about him, and he'll be there in your thoughts. And so if you've got a problem with math or science, or you're curious about something, he'll nudge you in the right direction, and he'll help you out. So Chloe, you're right. Very individualized, one-on-one basis. He'll work with everyone.
Yeah,
But he
he
does
did say
have
that.
some. He does have a group message, and we'll be sharing that later. Go ahead, Laurie.
Yeah. So anyway, it was quite the experience, and to be on a messenger chat with Teresa, and all this is coming down. It was a lot to deal with, but having been through it before, it made it a lot easier. I understood what was going on, and what was happening, and I could see him release the moment he released and let go. And then I could see her coming back in, which was an absolutely fascinating experience, on a whole nother level. It was just incredible. So, anyway, that's
I like
the
with
truth.
Charles.
Yeah.
The halls of learning. Better
Hmm.
watch out. Dalibor's going to tear through all those books. He's going to learn as much as possible. I just saw that.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Uh, Sophia, did you want a moment to go ahead and speak about what you had to say?
Yeah, if this is a good time to do that, when
Absolutely. Hmm.
Yep.
excuse me, when anybody that I have the privilege to love and spend any amount of time with, I always take the liberty and the opportunity to type them out a letter. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter how long they've been gone. I feel putting what we have to say forward gives them context to respond. So if you feel it's important, or if you're spending more time in a place and it's having a somewhat unhealthy effect on you, one, reach out, because just like Dalibor was always there for us, we're always here for each other.
Hmm.
So I what I did was just wrote him a letter. So here we go. All
Okay.
right, where's the next? Because that's probably gonna come into play here in a minute. Oh look, I give a shit. Here we go. Um, Good evening, my dear Dalibor, those in attendance in person and watching later. Like many mysterious people and deities, you had more than one name. Sun Rabbit, Alchemist and shit, Wizard and shit, Scientist, and many more. I appreciate the balance and the humor you brought and still bring to this panel. Hours of time to assist and lighten the vibe to all that find your content that will remain in the ethers of the internet forever. Yeah, I know what you've been up to. Enjoy it, bub. You deserve it. I see you zipping through the ethers, traveling the universe, soaking up the perpetual sense of freedom. Indeed. Thoughts are things. Energy follows thought.
Yep.
Instead of the fleshly shell you embodied, that law and other natural laws instead will what you embody until you return, if you choose to do so. I'll catch up with you soon enough. Astral projection, perhaps. Um, there were many qualities about you that I enjoyed. Your analytical approach, the quick wit, and it always brought a smile to my face. Thank you for the open dialogue concerning metaphysics, because he was a realist. It took him a minute to come around to metaphysics. He was not one to be like, oh yeah, sure. He'd be like, well, wait a minute. But over time, um, we had some pretty interesting conversations on and off camera. I lost my spot. Shit. Um, Thank you for the open dialogue concerning metaphysics. and agreeing to assist each other energetically once either one of us is on the other side first. Yeah, we did that. And he followed through. He's good to his word. I'm excited about what else we may have. Um, there we go. The magnitude of contribution to this and other channels will help us spend more time with you, digitally speaking. You continue to raise the frequency and vibration of the planet with the information that and content that you would share. Thank you for leaving us that. Science, the facts, exploring others' opinions with respect. One of my favorite things about you is the dependability you delivered show after show. That brought great comfort to me and structure to the show. Thank you. You're one in a million, man. You're coming through loud and proud. I support you in this part of your journey and transformation. Continue for your highest and best. I understand there were some things you still plan to do down here on the earth plane. I now honor you with my actions. I promise to keep pushing and pursuing my dream, no matter how far out of my comfort zone I may be. That's my promise to you, brother. To keep going, to honor you with my actions. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Look at all these people showing up for you, man. What a good time. And we had a great run, my friend, on this plane. If I continue anymore, I may continue to ugly cry. And none of us want that. I promise. Death is a period, not a comma. And there's so much more to come for all of us. Thank you, brother. I'll see you later. Your friend in shit. Witchy poo. Dun, 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 dun.
I
bam.
love that.
Oh my God. I knew I was going to fucking cry for the whole world.
Oh, Sophia, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so
thought it
much
was
for
funny.
that. Yeah, I bet he did. I bet he did.
My pleasure,
You know,
man.
he had his sensitive side too. You know.
Yes, he
Oh,
did.
he did.
Yeah, it was awesome, Kelly. My sister Kelly's in the chat room. Hey,
And I
Kel.
tell you something. Let me tell you something, folks. You're here tonight because you're part of the family. We're here
Yep.
to honor and celebrate Dalibor.
Right.
If there's something you didn't like about Dalibor, if you didn't click with Dalibor, there's an exit door right down here on the corner. It says bye-bye. Just leave. Come back another time. If you don't want to be here and you don't want to help celebrate Dalibor. Okay? Because that's what we're here for tonight. This isn't about us individually. It's about our love and appreciation and gratitude for who he was and what he meant to the rest of us.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yep.
So you're welcome to leave. Come back another time. It's all good.
Yep.
All right.
So at this point, I put together some pictures, and these are public pictures that we got off of various websites and things like that.
Cool.
I know this first picture is one that he was proud of because he often talked about going to Egypt and visiting the pyramids. So this first pic, and I'll share these. There's a handful of them, but really good stuff. And there's some pictures of when he was a kid, and he was an awfully cute kid. I always thought he was a handsome guy. Here's a picture. I don't know who this gal is, but obviously it's a good friend. And there's the pyramids in the background, and there's Dalibor sweating his butt off, as they often do in Egypt. But that's a really cute picture. You can see how curly his hair was too. Yeah, that's a
Yep.
good one. Here's another one, just kind of hanging out. That is, you know, one of the things I found fascinating about Dalibor was he always had that cigarette holder, and
Yeah.
it always looked so regal in his hand, and he
Yeah.
always had it. If you ever watched any of these shows and seen him, he always had that thing in his hand.
That's right.
Another picture in Germany, where he lives. Uh, his hair really got long, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like his car outside of his neighborhood there, his house.
We had a standing joke. He would need an extra salad bowl to wear if his hair got any longer. The copper bowls that he used to wear to cut out the
Mhm.
interference from the signals.
Yeah, I don't think he ever wore it in a ponytail. He had that barrette thing on, and that was interesting. That held his hair back.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next picture coming up is his brother, Thomas, and his
Yep.
wife at their wedding.
Mhm.
They look a lot alike. Thomas is his younger brother. But a happy day
Mhm.
for Thomas on that. Thomas did pass before Dalibor. This next
Mhm.
picture is at Thomas's wedding with his mother and father. So that is
Yeah.
Dalibor's mother and father, and his brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next one is his grandmother on her 98th birthday.
Yeah.
And she was born in February 3rd of 1923. And she's the one on the right with the cane. His father's in the upper left and his mother's the lower left there.
He
Um,
said his grandmother was as sharp as a tack, witty. Like I said, well, now we know where you get your wit from. And he says, well, I get that from my mother too.
mm,
And but his grandmother gets around like you wouldn't believe. And he
yeah.
said she's a bit more agile on her feet than he was.
You know,
Yeah.
she's a life path one. I did the numbers. I
Yeah.
crunched those numbers. She's a life path one and she's extremely independent. Um,
Uh-huh.
so
Uh-huh.
I get her because I'm a life path one.
She lived in the apartment right underneath of him in his
Yeah.
apartment building that he ran. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this next picture is when they were kids. Now, Dalibor was the oldest, Thomas was the youngest, so Dalibor's up there in the middle, right next to his father.
You can
And
see
what a
Dalibor's mouth
cutie.
and glasses.
Yeah, what a cutie. I just love that. Here's another picture of them.
Yeah.
Looks like Thomas
Mhm.
finally got glasses at that point, but look how
Mhm.
handsome he was. I mean, just cute. Just so cute. And here's one of them together.
Mhm.
And it's just amazing to see these pictures of him.
He's actually smiling with his teeth in that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he really is. Yep. And then here's a cute picture. Dalibor's sitting down and Thomas is above him.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Couldn't
I mean,
convince him that he was every bit as handsome as Thomas. And
mhm.
he said, "Well, I got the brains and Thomas got the looks." I said, "I don't know about that."
Here's another cute photo of him. I mean, how cute are these two, huh?
Yeah, Scott, you knew him when he was this age, didn't you, Scott? Steam Crunk Scott. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen these pics since the 90s. Yep.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. It's good to see his family. Yes, Trina, that's right. Yeah. I thought this would be and this is all orchestrated through Dalibor, you
Now,
guys.
Thomas and his wife lived in Florida, and Thomas passed away in 2020 or 2021.
I think it's 2020. I'm pretty sure it's
2020,
2020.
and
Yeah.
his wife also within
Mhm.
months of Thomas,
Uh-huh.
or within weeks. I can't remember if it was weeks, but they ended up having a funeral service for both of them, a
Mhm.
memorial service that Dalibor couldn't get to. And one of the things that he was thinking about on his death was when he was passing is if he would get to see Thomas right away and cookie
Mhm.
check his rabbit. And it turns out he did. But
Yep.
he said he wasn't here in where I was going. He wasn't here right away. They had to summon him. So they had to summon Thomas to bring
Mhm.
him to Dalibor so Dalibor could meet up with him. And I guess
Yeah.
Thomas can make a final decision.
Yeah.
That's a piece of information that's helpful to know. Dalibor's like, you're not alone even when you cross over. So even when you have to make the tough decisions in spirit,
Yeah.
you always have help.
Yeah.
He's talking about his family.
Yeah. This next picture is a Halloween. I don't know what year it was, but I thought it was funny.
Oh, yeah.
Tarzan.
Yeah.
Yep. There's
That's
that.
the photo he gave Al for the
Uh-huh.
photo contest for the Mad
Oh,
Hatters.
yeah. That's right.
that.
Yeah. And then this was his trusted little bunny. His name was Kukishek.
Yes.
And what a cute little rabbit. So this is where his affinity for rabbits came from. He ended up
Yes.
being a very beloved pet to him, and he often said that he communicated with him on a conscious level, which was really cool.
Yeah, and we have a story about that.
How hard it is to get bunnies to trust you?
Yeah.
Like, it takes a very delicate and a very consistent energy to get a bunny to actually trust you and talk to you. So that says a lot about Dalibor as a person.
Well, and he picked Dalibor. He most definitely, Kukishek picked Dalibor. And in fact, Dalibor was calling him a different name. Isn't that right, Teresa? And the
Yeah,
bunny
he was
told him his
calling
name
him-
was Kukishek.
He was calling him Tavik, which is pause.
Uh-huh.
PAWS.
In
And in
Czech,
a dream,
right?
Cookie Check in a dream told him what his real name was. I have the whole story here if we get to it. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's spelled Tapik, but it's pronounced Tavik. Tavick, but that's really not the rabbit's name, and the rabbit let him know what his name really was. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And then so I thought that would be really cool to share those pictures because we hadn't seen them either, and it was interesting. But a lot of these I took off of what Dalibor had posted for Thomas's legacy.com is where I pulled some of these off of there.
Yeah.
Also, we had some shows that Dalibor was really happy about. And Sophia, you're going to like this one. You guys remember that
Now,
psychic
he
show?
picked these. He picked these shows.
These are his picks. Remember the show where we were doing the psychic thing and we all had an item, Sophia, and he did the duck thing, and Doug was the one that guessed that it was a little yellow ducky.
And that was his first guess.
Yes.
That was his. And are we going to play the reel?
Yeah, I'm going to play this reel for you.
A clip.
Go ahead, Sophia.
When someone says rubber ducky, he literally does. You know,
yeah.
That's one of my favorite shows. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yes, beautiful bean footage.
It was
beautiful
one of
rubber
his
ducky
footage.
Shows.
It was his
here we
favorite,
go, you guys. We'll relive this with you. It's worth it. It was really, really something. Here we go.
Pick abilities you think you may or may not have, or just good intuition. Each one of us has a box with a hidden object. We don't know what these objects are. The panel doesn't know what each other has. Then we're going to go one by one and let the chat room guess, just same way you do your remote vision practices with Max. And remember to breathe. Use all your senses: sight, color, touch, smell, sound, whatever it is you do. And we'll go one by one. Each panelist has an object. So how do you want to start it, Laurie?
I say we start with Dalibor because he's been holding that box for 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So
whatever's inside's been dying to resume its proper place.
Ooh, all right. So you've labeled that 101D. 101D. So you're going to focus on that. You can write it down. You can just mentally do it however you want, but that's the frequency that he's going to push out there. 101D.
Yeah.
So
just breathe in and breathe out a couple times. Write it down. Just like John had to do. Write it down 3 times. Right, Laurie?
Yeah, write it down or don't. It's up to you, however you want to do it. But So Dalibor is kind of sending some signals. So he's sending it out. And so whatever you guys start picking up on, colors,
All caps, please. All
sizes.
caps in the chat room.
Just
Yeah.
like remote viewing,
bad.
color, texture.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll give you a couple minutes. Give you a couple minutes and give everybody a chance. Who should not be allowed to play?
Sophia. I think she's already guessed it.
My connection with Dalibor is so strong. I knew it. I'm pretty sure.
I'm getting a couple things on him already. All right, so don't hold back. Just start putting it in chat. I'm gonna type mine right now.
Okay. Scotty Boy says ashtray, no butts.
You were so bad, Scotty.
No ashtray. Its measurements are 8 centimeters by 10 centimeters. 8 centimeters
give him
by
any clue.
10 centimeters by 12 centimeters.
Dag. Love that guess.
Let's see. Yes, he says yellow rubber ducky.
Well, we're gonna let's just let everybody have a chance to put their read them out.
I wish we could zoom on that.
Another minute. We'll give you another minute, and then we'll go back and read your responses. And try not to peek at each other's.
Did you see his face? I don't want to get it.
She's saying, Chloe is saying Egyptian statue figure, black and brown, stone. Robert V says feather. Lucky Stone says
Is everybody finished?
Slipped on. Hold on, Lucky Stone. I want to get his. Gosh darn it!
So bad.
Lost the thread. Holy crap!
All right, I got the. I'll click it off on where it starts with Scotty Boy with an ashtray.
Says Lucky Stone says I see a white crystal. Okay. Teresa, is this your guess? I see a key and the number 9. Number 9.
Am I allowed to play?
Yes.
Yes.
Type it in all caps.
Okay. I didn't want to go first. Hang on.
It's all good.
Let's see.
There we go. I love you, Sophia. You're so cute.
Okay, time's up. We'll go ahead and read them all.
You can tell we hadn't done this before.
I'm feeling like it might be a coin of some sort.
Boy, was I off.
Some type of coin.
You had the right color if it was a gold
Grandpa
coin.
Brian's getting blue. He's got blue. All right. Hairless caterpillar.
You are so
Put down yellow rubber duck.
That's hilarious. Points for creativity, if that's what it is.
Okay, so Mary Mansfield says smooth, sharp corners, cool to the touch, heavy for its size.
Okay.
Wow.
We could do something like this
And
again.
then Max Vision says potato peeler, stapler.
He's seeing an instrument, a tool. Okay, so Dalibor,
Did I
go
open
ahead
it?
and reveal.
Yeah.
You're gonna freak out. You're seriously gonna freak out.
It's that gold chain. I'm gonna riot.
Totally blew his mind.
Oh my
It's a
God!
I can't
Oh
believe it.
no freaking way! You told
Wow.
Doug
I did not. I
How
swear to
the
God.
heck?
I swear to God. Swear to God.
Someone's
I
got a new side hustle.
didn't tell anybody. Didn't tell me. Didn't tell anybody. Didn't even tell
That's,
my friends.
$50.
that's awesome.
I
He
love
sent
that.
you $50 for the answer. Come
Man, way to go.
Grumpy
Way to
stack.
go.
on. Damn.
And whoever
Damn,
said feather,
Scotty.
whoever said
Doug.
feather, well, that's related because
Yeah, that
if
was
it
Robert
a real
D.
duck,
Yes,
Robert B.
that's
got
true.
that one. Yeah.
That's
Now
true.
watch, he's gonna kick my
Awesome,
butt
Dylan.
now.
Well
Watch.
played, man.
Yellow
Well
rubber
played.
duck.
Awesome.
Number
Awesome.
9.
I love you,
I
people.
love it. That is so
White
good.
crystal.
Wow.
that was a direct hit. A direct
Yes,
hit.
it was.
That
Yes,
was.
it was.
And you, Teresa, were like making fun of it, like, yeah.
Yeah.
What I
Grumpy
meant
Stacks
by
was
that,
shot in the dark. That's just Grumpy
Yeah.
Stacks got a new side hustle.
No
That's
kidding.
just wow.
Yellow potato.
yeah.
Yellow.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Doug even here? Doug's not
Yeah.
responding. Is he even here?
Yes.
Yeah, he's in here.
That was his
I mean-
guess.
But he hasn't said anything.
Teresa, that was his guess.
I know, but I'm saying he hasn't responded like Yahoo.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
he
think he
knows
did up
he
there
won.
somewhere.
Not one, but guessed it.
He guessed
That
it.
is so freaking
Awesome.
cool. Yeah.
That was awesome. That
Mhm.
was awesome.
And it's going to
Mind-blowing.
resume its place in my bathtub. And I have
Good.
a story about that because one time a friend of mine who like regards me as like a scientist and shit, and he said he saw my bathtub and he says, "You have a rubber ducky in your bathtub?" I'm like, "Well, it demonstrates the physical principles of buoyancy." He's like, "Oh, okay.
It keeps me company.
Oh, okay, in that case."
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice to be Bert and Ernie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It was after
Anyway.
that he dubbed himself a scientist and shit.
Yeah.
Even on his Skype profile.
And we wore that one out, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Hey,
got
and
another-
before you
Yeah, go
play the
ahead.
next one,
Uh-huh.
I just want Trina to know because Trina is, she works and it's late. It's getting late for her.
Mhm.
But Trina, he loved you so much. He wanted to make sure you were part of this tonight. He posted this on his Minds page on October 2nd. October 2nd. He said, "None of our past predictions for the present day has ever come to fruition as expected. And they also say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That being the case, where do all the mediocre predictions get you? They get you right here and right now. And maybe if we change our expectations and better outcomes can be achieved. Join me for an interesting discussion with Trina on Milky Way Soul Tribe." And he says Fire and Ice with Dalibor and Trina. So he plugged that and he got 83 views from his Minds link into Milky Way's chat, into Milky Way's show. But he really enjoyed that show with you and he told me all about it. So I had to make sure I went and watched it the next day because he really enjoyed that discussion with you, Trina. And he really, really loved you and appreciated you. Go ahead, Laurie.
Steam Crunk is asking about posting an email to contact him. You can post it in the comments, I believe, but you're not a moderator, so you won't be able to post it here. But you can do it in
After the
comments
show.
After the show, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to respond to that. So remember, you guys, when we did a Halloween show and Dalibor was talking about that crazy cat lady? Well, he liked this one too, so we'll play this one for you.
The first home I ever bought was an apartment, and this was in 1991. And unbeknownst to me, the lady that had owned it before me had passed away in it of natural causes and had been eaten by her cats inside the apartment.
So she died.
Oh, wow.
The cats were hungry and they were mowing on her.
Yeah,
Holy.
yeah. And the cops, when they came to do the welfare check, they had to kill all the cats because she had a lot of them.
So they're probably trying to protect her, even her body, huh?
Yeah, they were eating her body because they had nothing to eat. So, but she was a cat lover because I knew that by the fact that she had all these cat brains.
And the cats were human lovers.
Yeah, it's just preserved in formaldehyde and stuff. So the house, the apartment came with all her stuff, all the furniture, all the stuff. And I'm going through this stuff periodically. And one time I discovered like a jewelry box filled with currency. I was like, wow, some of this is quite valuable. I could trade this in at the bank. As soon as I found that, the first light bulb went out. And then, so I went outside, reset the fuse. Then the second one. This happened 10 times in rapid succession.
Wow.
At the end of it, I was just like freaking out. I was standing outside at the fuse box and I was like, should I even go in? So I go inside, figured out where my cigarette lighter was, found the last light bulb, and just turned it on, and it didn't go off. So I was like, okay, worst case scenario, I'll just, light a candle or something. And no other light bulbs went off since then. But I had all this weird stuff happen to me. Like I was repairing a wall, and some of the stucco came off, and there was a black mark on the concrete underneath the stucco of a human hand. And then later on, another piece broke off, and it was a picture of a human face, a female face.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was like, dude, that's got to be her, because I didn't know at that time that she had died in the apartment. So
Did you ever
then
see
came,
pictures of her? Did you ever know what she looked like?
I'm
I
getting
mean,
to
later? Okay.
that. I'm getting
All right.
to that.
Okay.
I started having recurring dreams, and in these dreams, there was a naked old lady who was trying to get on top of me while I was sleeping in my bed, and I saw her face distinctly. This happened many times, and so a couple of weeks later, I was at a neighbor's house, and he had a picture of her. He had a picture of like a couple of people in that house. I was like, that's her. He didn't even tell me that was her, but I picked her out.
You knew. Mm-hmm.
I knew, yeah. And so, yeah, it's a bizarre story, yeah.
I like that.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow.
So I
Grandpa?
wrote
Go
this
ahead.
up in an email, and I
Okay.
sent it to Brad Steiger. And
Uh-huh.
as soon as I hit the enter button to send it,
Uh-huh.
I heard like a rattle in the bathroom, and I go inside to check, and it was like a hairbrush that had belonged to her had fallen off the side of the sink into the bottom of the sink.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
Ugh.
And I had
That's
taken
just-
that brush because it was new and it was in the plastic when I had first gotten it when I moved in.
Oh, I
So
see. Okay.
that's why I had it.
Like, you don't want any more DNA around there, do you?
No. So it's like any mention of her causes like some paranormal phenomena to happen.
Ugh.
And so I'm telling this story about the
Mhm.
email and everything else to somebody else downstairs, and all of a sudden a massive thud in the room next door. And what had fallen over was by accident. My grandma had knocked it over. And it was a table that had belonged to her,
Ooh.
to the lady in that apartment.
Mm.
Crazy.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
nuts.
Mhm.
Have you ever experienced anything more than that since? Like,
No,
do you feel
no.
like she's passed, left?
I
or
I
she's
feel
still
like-
kind of hanging out with you?
I think she's still hanging out with me. I think she's keeping a
Wow.
watchful eye on me.
Mm-hmm.
I really think so. Yeah.
Wow.
And because it's like I made an agreement with her, sort of, that I'll make a
Mhm.
concession to her and that I won't smoke in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
She really hated that. And why? Why do I know this? Because one time I was falling asleep
Mm-hmm.
and I distinctly heard a woman's voice in the bathroom saying, "Somebody's been smoking in here again." Well, she was strange. She was definitely strange because she wouldn't talk to anybody in any of the 14 other apartments except Christmas, when she would like bake Christmas cookies for the entire house and would, make sure everybody got their share. Yeah, really, really weird. And this was, like I said, this was in Brno, Czech Republic.
What a story, huh, you guys?
I
Him
wonder
and
if
that,
he met her, on the other side.
What's that?
I wonder if he met up with her on the other side.
Oh,
Like,
I'm
you're the
absolutely
crazy
sure
one.
of it.
well, that's
Yeah.
a question we could ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely
definitely.
sure of it. Okay, we do have remember when we did the soul family connection? And I asked Dalibor if he felt like he was connected to us. This was his take on it. It's a good one. First question to the panel tonight is, do any on the panel feel connected to each other? And I'm wondering, Dalibor, do you feel connected?
Sure. Yeah.
In
I
what
feel connected.
way?
I feel connected to everybody on the panel because in my country we have a saying, and it's exactly the same as in your country. Birds of a feather flock together, except we say it in a slightly different way.
I like that.
Basically, we say a crow will always land next to a crow, just like a human will always seek out his equal.
Yeah.
I know it's
that's
cool.
Like attracts like. Yeah.
Like attracts like, exactly.
Mhm.
And I'm here among equals. I feel, equal to
Peers.
everybody else. Yeah, peers in this path of spiritual development. And I'd say it was a very fortuitous situation where we were able to meet up through Wayne Steiger and, interacting first via chats, emails, and stuff like that. And then later going on to doing this show. So, yeah, I think it was a confluence of positive luck, I would say.
What a
And,
choice of
nothing
words.
happens by accident. So we know that it was, in a sense, divinely ordained.
Divinely, yeah.
Even today's date is divinely ordained because today is the 17th of November, and it's exactly 34 years since 17th of November 1989, which is when my country, Czech Republic, sloughed off the shackles of communism forever.
Yeah.
So it's a national holiday.
Yeah.
It's a national
Yay.
holiday.
National thinking holiday.
Yeah. Long overdue because we were under communism since 1948 to 1989. So for like 41 years. And that goes to show you, why am I mentioning this? It goes to show you that no bad situation ever lasts forever. It's just like the pandemic, I knew that it wouldn't last forever. All good things come to an end, but so do all bad things. But most of the time, those bad things are only temporary setbacks. Because humanity, as it is, in sum total, is moving forward. We're moving from a place of lack to a place of abundance. Always. I mean, not only our technology is increasing, but also our lifespans, our quality of life, our creature comforts, everything. I'd much rather be alive today, despite all the stuff that's going on, than even 10 years ago or even 20 years ago.
Do you think you chose to come in at this time?
Sure, definitely. Because like I just said, I'd rather be alive today than be alive, I don't know, during the Middle Ages, forget it. During the Renaissance, forget it. 1800s.
Kind of feel like we've been there, done that, like we already did that. Now we're doing things differently.
I mean, I'd like to visit the 1800s, maybe for 15 minutes, to check out certain aspects of certain historical events or whatever. Maybe, I don't know, grab a couple of interesting collectibles along the way.
Yeah, that would
for
be
resale.
Cool.
But that's about it. I wouldn't want to live in the 1800s. Forget it. They didn't even have dental anesthetic. Back then. And that's a biggie.
Yeah, you just slowed down some alcohol and went, yank that sucker out.
So,
like they did in the 1800s,
Yeah.
Doc
I mean, I was born in the 60s, and even even back then, life wasn't all peachy. You didn't have the internet. All you had was TV, magazines, newspapers, and that was pretty much it.
And a telephone in the kitchen with a really long cord.
Yeah, with a really long cord.
And there was no call waiting. You had to wait till everybody was done talking. I tried to call you 20 times, but it was busy. Yeah.
And my first computer was a 286 with no hard drive, where you had to load the operating system from two floppy disks, 5 1/4-inch floppy disks. And basically, personal computing back then sucked. Telecommunications, we had a telex machine in the kitchen. And, I found out how to use it. It was an ASR 33. And it was just, when you compare even technology back then, like 20, 30 years ago, it was like bullshit compared to today.
Yeah.
So, why would somebody want to be incarnated at that time versus today?
Well, Dalibor, when you think about it, being born when we actually followed technology and learned every incrementally, step by step, on how to use it. And
exactly.
That was really cool because look at where it brought us today. I mean, here we are on this platform using all of those skills and things that we have learned in the past. So pretty cool.
And our generation was part of that development of that technology.
Exactly.
And just like I was part of the development of my country's history and its journey from totalitarian communism into free market capitalism, or a semblance of it that we have today. Because by moving there in 1991, I helped accelerate that. And by using my experiences from the United States you know, working in banking and everything like that. I helped accelerate that process and be a part of it.
Yeah.
So that's a privileged position in
That's
and of
awesome.
itself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That was a good show. We enjoyed that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So, Teresa, did you want to read the thing about Cookie Shack? What did you want to do next?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's take a vote here because it's a 15-minute story. It's Dalibor was an author, and for those of you who didn't know his work, it varied from political to humorous, and even the political was humorous. But he also had an incredible storytelling technique, and he had me on the floor most of the time. And his stuff is out there on Minds, and I'm in the process of pulling it all over to one central location where I can get it copyrighted under his name, his moniker, Sun Rabbit, and get it bound for you all because it's just a treasure chest of wisdom stuffed inside these little humorous nuggets wrapped in a political shield in some cases. Crookshank, Cookie Check is a short story that he wrote about his relationship with his rabbits, one rabbit in particular. And if you really want to get to know who Dalibor is, inside and out, beyond what you've seen on these clips, it's a good story to hear because it gives you some incredible insight as to how he came into his understanding of how things work in spirit. And he's very sensitive because he had a very sensitive side to his nature. But it's also filled with humor if you understand Dalibor. I was on the floor when I was reading it to Laurie, just because you have to picture what Dalibor is doing with this rabbit. So I would like to read it, but it will take about 15 minutes. There's another one that's shorter about ventriloquism. It's also very funny, but it's one of those little nuggets wrapped it into a dig at society.
Why don't we do the ventriloquist one? Because that's a good one as well. And what we could do, if you want, Teresa, is we could post it on Facebook.
Which
the
one?
Cookie Shack. We can
Okay. Yeah,
post that
we
on
can do that.
Facebook because it's kind of
Yeah.
lengthy, and we have one other thing
It's
we need to get
lengthy.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I'm
the
saying.
ventriloquist one is really good.
Okay. Hang on a second. Let me pull that one up.
All right.
Give you an idea of his witty. I mean, we all know how witty he was, but we get these little 5-minute spurts from him. This is pretty cool. Pontifications about pornication. Pornification was good too. Clowns. That's another one. All right, let me get here. Okay. So anyway, he published a number of these short stories, and he was working on a manuscript. I'd love to get a hold of the final manuscript he's been putting together. It's a comedy. He's written a comedy, and he really wanted to publish it. So I'm hoping I can get a hold of it somehow and help make that happen for him. Okay, here we go. Hey, how come your lips aren't moving? Is the name of his article. Published on December 7th, 2023. Dalibor M. Suchy. Years ago, I wrote a short story about a hypothetical situation in which ventriloquism takes over a small town. It started out as a fad in a local high school where kids would play jokes on each other using ventriloquism. That year, a couple of ventriloquists' acts were featured in the school's talent show, and the school's administrators thought nothing of it. The next year, it became an obsession, and the kids were all doing it, and later, even some teachers were sharing in the fun. Things got serious, though, when students started experiencing involuntary ventriloquism, where their lips would stop moving mid-sentence, even as they continued to speak normally. A significant portion of the student body was afflicted, and the principal put out a memo to teachers to keep an eye out for this behavior. Ventriloquism and ventriloquistic speech became sanctionable offenses, and students would be given detention for it. However, this phenomenon was no longer confined to just one school. In short order, the whole country became, or the whole county became afflicted, and later the whole state. The FBI was notified. They formed.
Hold it together, Teresa.
The hours with this guy. This is what he put me through hours. The FBI was notified, and they formed their own ventriloquism task force to get to the bottom of it. Medical experts discovered severe abnormalities in the most severely afflicted victims, like lockjaw and facial muscular hyperplasia. Damn it. Some victims even died due to an inability to ingest food. A press conference was called, and the governor spoke to news reporters to explain what was happening. Towards the end of his appearance, his lips had stopped moving, and his face took on a dummy head expression, even as he continued to answer questions normally. Even a TV newscaster would suffer the same fate while delivering her live report on the situation. More and more people were caught in a typical spiral of violence, drugs, alcohol, and ventriloquism. The WHO, World Health Organization, started looking into this as a possible global pandemic and came to the conclusion that mass psychiatry was the only solution. Armies of counselors were recruited and deployed, even so far as being dropped off by helicopters in remote regions. The ramifications to daily life were immense. Ventriloquism-related questions were added to anything from medical questionnaires to job applications, and some jurisdictions even made it a misdemeanor. But the problem, now global, was barely being contained. See where he's getting at, folks? Saudi Arabia instituted death by hanging, where a dummy would also be hanged beside a victim. Clearly, a breakthrough was needed. And that was exactly what happened when a psychiatric researcher stationed in Antarctica noted that ventriloquism was wholly absent on the continent since ventriloquist dummies had been banned earlier on in the pandemic. A study was commissioned, and subsequent testing confirmed everybody's suspicions. The dummies had caused the pandemic. Apparently, certain medieval reptilians in the brain are triggered while watching any mechanical contraption resembling a human with an articulated mouth. The solution was simple. Make it so that all ventriloquist dummies would have their mouths glued shut, thereby inducing a phenomenon known as reverse ventriloquism, where the human victim starts compensating for the dummy's lack of mouth movements by making his own mouth move. In other words, the dummies would make people dummies, or as they say, fight fire with fire, or in this case, fight ventriloquism with ventriloquism. Within a few months, the whole pandemic was conquered. No longer would dummies ruin our lives. If you or someone you know is suffering from involuntary ventriloquistic speech, contact the Ventriloquism Support Hotline at 1-800-5477-6683. That's 1-800.
Uh-oh. We lost your sound. I bet your earbuds went out, didn't they? Earbuds. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, just take them off of that. Okay. Well, she's
Thank
getting.
you for sharing that, Teresa. That was
Yeah,
good.
thanks for sharing. That was pretty funny. That's the kind of stuff his mind would do. It's just amazing how it works. But so the last thing we have tonight is about a 35-minute channeling. Now, let me preface this. Teresa has had abilities her whole life. She, in the last 4 years, has embraced it and has practiced. And typically we do this together. So we brought Dalibor in. She is a trans medium, a trans channeler. She literally leaves her body, um, steps aside, moves out of the way, and allows other consciousness to come in. We spent many, many hours doing this. I have lots of recorded material on this. We've done our higher selves, past lives, concurrent lives, that kind of stuff. Are you back, Teresa?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yeah. Do you want to describe your process that you do? You and I do this typically together. I don't let you do this by yourself because I want to make sure you're okay, and that you come back and everything's okay. But we thought it would be nice to bring Dalibor in because he did have a message for you all.
Yeah.
And you can call upon Dalibor anytime. Any of you can call upon him and chat with him. He'll definitely communicate with you if you are able to pick up that frequency.
Yeah.
I know some of you have already done that. Chloe, I know you did something. But he wanted this out there, and so Teresa and I discussed this and decided that we would go ahead and show it to you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Well,
You want to make a comment?
I'm fairly new to the practice of trans channeling. I've only been doing it for maybe a half a year or so. Right? When you say about that?
Mm-hmm.
And I started out with bringing in some aspects of my higher selves, and then also ancestors, and guides, other guides that I've had contact with over the years, until I got conditioned, until my body became conditioned to it, until I figured out how this whole mechanism worked. Because when I was first experiencing it without any formal training or anything, I didn't quite know what to do with myself. Okay. But I finally learned that what's really going on here, and I think it's important for those who aren't familiar with it. The process is that you're creating a space for an interaction to occur. This is my understanding. Okay. This doesn't have to be yours, but what I think is going on here, and I think Bashar actually explains it even better than this, but that's where I was starting to figure it out. You're not really communicating with the person of, say, Dalibor. You're communicating with the character aspect of his soul essence, his energy, vibrating at a certain frequency in whatever dimension he's in. Okay? My frequency vibrates at a 3D frequency here, but because I have a higher consciousness and have developed abilities, and I'm at a higher I'm more open, my frequency has been lifted. So I can meet that frequency that someone's bringing in, that aspect is bringing in from the other side. And I can meet up with that frequency. But in order to do that, we create a third person. So what you're really talking to is not Teresa, not Dalibor, but an aspect of Dalibor interacting with aspects of Teresa's character. So you're getting a hybrid character. Now, I hope I'm explaining this right.
Let me just explain a little bit, because I'm very familiar with this.
Okay.
And I understand it, how it works. So basically what Teresa does is her consciousness, she's able to step aside and allow that consciousness of Dalibor to come in, the essence of who he is. He comes into the body. You'll notice his mannerisms, his choice of words. it's her voice, it's her vessel, her body, but it's his energy coming in. And between the two of them, with her body and his consciousness, it creates that one entity, so to speak. So I think it's just best to show them and they can see how this plays out. Yeah. Yes, transmigration. Yep. Anyway, it's about 35 minutes. It's absolutely fascinating. I asked all the questions and I chatted with Dalibor. Basically, you're witnessing a communication between Dalibor and I. Teresa is not there. She
But
does
he,
have a process, and you'll see her leave her body. You'll see the energy leave her body, and you'll see his come in. Now, what I want you to note is when he starts to come in, this is exactly what happened to her the night that he came in and needed help to pass on. So it is fascinating. This is a first for our channel, but it's important for you all to experience it and learn about it, especially if you're into spirituality. This is a very common thing now.
but he has a message for everybody. That's
Absolutely, that's what I said.
He wanted to reach out.
Yes, that I said that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. So let me pull this up, and you guys can witness this and experience it. It is quite fascinating. So here we go. Hey, Dalibor. Hi.
Laurie.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good.
I knew you would be.
Good.
Good. It's good to be with you in this now moment.
Taking some time out to interact with you.
I appreciate that. What were you doing? Did we take you away from something?
It's not important.
Okay. Good enough.
There are good things happening, yes.
Okay, good. It's good to see the smile. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, what in the heck do you think about all this now? We were blown away, but happy to help you.
Well, it was sudden. And not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sudden and not sudden. And, but I went through what was necessary.
Yeah.
And what's just really mind-blowing is the lot of shit I knew. I really knew.
Yeah. Confirmed, right?
A lot of shit I knew. I really knew. You could tell that to Teresa because she fought with me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
But we went back and forth, but we had a lot of the same understandings. But then there were those things that we just were totally opposite on.
Yeah.
We had numerous conversations, but yeah, so everything that I've learned so far, I'm still going through my
life review.
I've been through a review.
Okay.
And I've been healing nicely from some
I'm
things.
so pleased to know that. Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, I didn't have a whole lot of baggage to bring across. So I'd gotten most of my concerns of previous lives out of the way with.
Have you visited your family? How are they doing?
They're hanging in there. They've got
Devastated.
they've got a long road. They have a lot of decisions they're going to need to make, and
Mm-hmm.
they're strong people.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at my grandmother, how strong she is. They're strong
yeah.
people. So
Yeah, they are. Yep.
they'll make it.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will.
This is
Go ahead.
ever thought I'd be in Teresa's body.
What a trip that is, huh? You kind of blew us away when you came in as you were getting ready to pass. And she was very scared. So thank goodness I called her, and I knew you just kind of needed permission to go. I kind of went through that with my dad, and I'm really happy I was able to help you and Teresa as well. I know it was scary.
Yeah.
But it's over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't at the time it was just is anybody out there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dear God, is anybody out there? And she tuned in.
Yep.
Said, I'm here. And I jumped right in without realizing at the moment what I was doing, and I jumped right into her.
I saw it. I witnessed it.
And she let me do it.
Mm-hmm. We've been practicing all this channeling for months. Thank goodness we did, because that helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But prior to doing that, I think I was just what she was doing. We don't know time the same way when we get over here. We're on a different system.
Mm-hmm.
There is no time as we.
Yeah.
It is and it isn't. It's everything. It's all at once, and it's just a constant movement. But so for her, for me, she was picking up on bits and pieces of my process that day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So that day, over several hours, I was having difficulty breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had 2 or 3 panicky moments.
I bet you did.
My human was panicking.
Mm-hmm.
And she picked up on all of that and was feeling it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all at once. But it was coming across to you and her as everything's happening right now.
I see.
Okay.
Interesting.
So, for her seeing what was terrifying to her was seeing me fight.
Yes.
Several times the mask and the ventilator that they were I was trying to pull the wires out and they were trying to put it in, and this was going on for several moments throughout the day. That day, she was picking it up as if it was all happening all at once. And that's what scared her human.
Yes.
Was because she saw my face in terror for such a long stretch. But it really wasn't. It was in.
I see blocks of moments, it sounds like.
Yeah, so she was getting the whole thing. She was
Yeah.
having a psychic vision. I wasn't connecting with her yet. She was getting these psychic visions, and then she reached out to me.
Right, because she could feel it. Yeah, she's very, very.
It's like, oh my God, Dalibor. And then I was surprised because I was not totally here.
Yeah.
And I was there. And I was here.
Yeah.
And so I'm dealing with what I think I'm seeing in terms of my guides and where they're leading me. And then I've got Teresa over here, blah, blah. And I'm trying to say to her, I'm not sure of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of glad she came through.
Yeah.
Because that momentarily gave me an opportunity to slow it down.
Mm-hmm. Focus on
My
something.
human needed it to slow
Yeah.
down. And so I latched on to her as a conduit and was relaying back to her what they were telling me.
Mm-hmm.
But she kept seeing the flashbacks from what was going on during the struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So for her, it was all one scary moment, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When she reached out to you,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I knew I could get some sense through.
Yeah.
Because she was having a lot of emotion.
Mm-hmm. She was very emotional. Yes.
So was I.
I know. Both of you were.
I needed someone to ground me.
Mm-hmm.
So she ended up being the perfect fit because the two of you are the perfect fit.
Well, yes, you have a new perspective. And I was going to ask you, have you run into our higher selves?
You are your higher self.
I mean, the etheric selves.
Yes, of course. Yes.
All right, cool. What did you think about that?
Fucking mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
At first. Now,
wait a minute.
like, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Be surprised at how you know in your linear Earth time
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem like a long time, but for me it seems like I've known you all for millennium.
Yeah,
because I have in my own
yes.
way.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, so that was interesting.
Hmm.
But it was a perfect opportunity because I could read her thoughts. And I could hear higher versions of yourself saying, give them time to reset to connect with Laurie. And that was perfect.
Oh, good.
Because you were that ground, that stability in the moment.
Yeah.
Moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have my own guides too, which probably would have stepped in, but it wouldn't have helped her.
Yeah.
And I still had my human side thinking he was human.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Still being human.
Yeah.
But they had to, of course, hold on. We weren't sure. I wanted them to make sure before they, cut me off completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't sure I was ready to leave. And that's what I was trying to tell you and Teresa.
Yes.
I wasn't prepared. I hadn't done everything I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I did what I could at the time, and
yeah.
So my parents will survive. They're having a hard time because
understandable.
Lost both their boys.
Yeah.
Me and Thomas, and so.
How's Thomas doing?
Thomas is fine. He's
I
fine.
imagine he was waiting for you.
Well, he wasn't waiting for me. He was summoned.
Oh, okay. Like a red light, green light.
Yeah. He wasn't here with his arms flapping and dancing Houdini.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They brought him in. They summoned him. He goes, "Oh, you finally kicked it."
That's funny.
But no, they all know. They all know that with the connection, they all know. Oh, she's on the way. Or he's on the way. Or
yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But he's fine. He's fine. He's
good.
His wife has reincarnated,
Oh, interesting.
but he
Mm-hmm.
has not. He's only been gone in human years for a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
so he's doing some works here.
Okay.
And, but he's helping in other ways,
That's good.
and I will too.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Too. I've had a few lives where my mad scientist.
And shit. We'll never forget that one. No. And we know that you're always with us, Dalibor. We know how this works. We're very tuned in, probably more than you thought, huh?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Just a bit.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I expected.
Did you?
I expected that would be true.
Okay.
For you too.
Mm-hmm.
I questioned certain others.
Yes.
But I think it was pretty clear.
Okay.
That you two
had
some off the chart abilities.
Yeah.
And people didn't underestimated mine.
Yes, they did.
But I was tapped in too. But
yes, you were.
In a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yep, in your way. Yep, in your unique way.
But I've been prepared. It's taken me a while
to
understand why this sudden need to know everything Egyptian and understand the secrets behind the pyramids. And no, Teresa, I'm not going to tell you. But actually, she has already figured it out. But all of that technology and all of that knowledge that I thirsted for, there was a reason for it.
What do you think that was?
Well, the shift in humanity, the cycles that the humanity is going through.
Yeah.
You're going to find ways to tap into all of that technology without the use of a huge, humongous pyramid to have to do it with.
Well, you know how the Egyptians were. Make it big, grand scale.
Yeah. And they just had to find ways to externalize the knowledge. And they did it in such a way that they were just megalithic. And it's like, if you've learned anything in this lifetime, is how small something can be now on a chip.
Yeah, yeah.
So
well, look at the energy that you are, you know, like
the
the tip of your thumbnail.
Here. Here's your pyramids, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep. Yes. I think it's the left brain, right brain, heart. That's the triangle.
Yep.
And the
it's
pineal gland.
It's that pattern that's always been, in the cosmos. So within, so without. So
yeah,
it's all part of that structure.
Yeah. So Dalibor, as you know, we're going to be doing a celebration of life. People just don't know that you've passed 100%. You know, Sophia knows, and our adorables, Nick and Jasmine, know. But we're keeping it under wraps. But we're going to this coming Friday, which is in about a week. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to give a message to the audience, to give you a voice, to express yourself to them.
Okay. Sure. I mean, I like that you've pulled together. I worked with Teresa here on.
Yeah, I like what you picked.
Well, we reviewed something like 20, 25 videos. some of the technical ones, but you can only play those for a minute or two before you start losing people's attention, because they're coming there and they're going to be expecting a service, of friendship and camaraderie, so they're not going to want to sit through technically heavy stuff.
Yeah, we did snippets.
We stayed away from some of the more
heavier stuff.
Yeah, and we kept it light. And I like what she picked, because I like what she picked for the funny ones. I was in agreement that we first one I told her was Rubber Duck.
Yeah. That'll be the first one.
Out of all the years and all the shows,
you enjoyed that one the most.
So
did we.
So freaking awesome. Yeah.
Who knew it'd be Grumpy Stack?
I liked the Mad Hatters.
Yeah, that was fun too.
But that's so far back. It's just, I think staying more current with some of the audience that we have, and the friends that we have, and the things that we built,
Yeah.
But so what is your question? You want to...
My question was what would you like the audience to know about where you're at right now and what happened? How would you like that to be played out?
Be truthful.
Okay.
Tell them the truth.
Okay.
That even the most spiritual people with the best intents don't have all the answers any more than a group of professionals or physicians or people who think they know something. There's always something you don't know. And listen to your bodies. Look for the early warning signs. And try not to let your mind, your ego, present you and rule you with such hubris that you fail yourself or fail to recognize when something's being flashed before you as truth. You don't want to hear it, or you think you know more than truth.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, from what I've put together, that's what a lot of people in science and spirituality do. And it doesn't seem to matter whether they're more scientific or more spiritual, but they tend to get this superiority or this feeling that, and to some degree, you are a powerful being, and you do have technology within you, and you can heal yourself, and on and on and on. There's and you can believe and have faith and have hope and trust that Spirit will guide you. But then there's things that are staring at you in the face. We're also from Creator. We're also from Spirit. And if you just, I can handle this myself. I'll do it my way. I can do it. And you create, be careful of what you create. You are powerful. And if you create a scenario where you're not going to benefit from that which is right before you, and you ignore it, you've chosen to ignore it for a reason. What is that reason? Always ask yourself before you ditch it. Do I really want to ditch this? Always ask yourself the question.
Okay.
Because if you don't ask yourself the question, then something is going to, be a blockage. And that's what happened with me. I mean, even Teresa here, she's like, yeah, I did it. I ditched it. I ditched all the difference that she was trying to point out to me is that I got to the point where I thought I could do this without needing. I'm the alchemist. I'm a scientist and shit, so I can do this without.
Yeah.
But logic goes out the window, and I was too far into my gnosis about things to hear the warnings, even from her.
Yeah.
Even from my parents, even from others. Was
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to try this? You sure you don't want to try that?
Yeah.
Why would you just go cold turkey and just quit? And should you still be smoking when you can't? That's the worst thing. Is to not realizing that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know you shouldn't, but you think you can't. You think it's your only vice. You're, what the hell? You don't have anything else going on, so.
Yeah, I understand.
If I'm not doing 2 packs, I'm only doing 15, and let's be okay.
Yeah.
The stories you tell yourself about, so you're in denial of what's really going on by covering it and masking it with something that you hope is better.
Yeah.
And some people will say, well, isn't that what you're supposed to do with alchemy? Aren't you supposed to be able to take a negative and turn it into a positive, or just sit down and look at yourself and say, okay, I want to transform, but I'll do it my way and in this way. And then what's, no, the process makes sense. Yes. But how you're doing it does not make sense if you're not building in little ways of testing yourself along the way.
Yep.
That's what I was missing. I was missing, when we're scientists and we sit in a laboratory, we benchmark. Our tests have a progression to them with expected outcome.
Right.
So busy running around saying, don't have expectations, because that's the spiritual thing to say nowadays. Don't have any expectations. Well, how do you conduct an experiment and test its validity if you don't have an expectation of an outcome based on something that you're testing or trying? So if you want to change something, it's not just waving a magic wand and saying, presto magico, I'm Harry Potter and I can change this. My nose like Samantha and snap my fingers. That's what Teresa would always say.
Yes.
She was right, because everyone knows. Even the most experienced alchemists from antiquity will tell you there's a process that you go through to test your assumptions. And so if you're going to take right action, to put some action in place to get you to a desired outcome, which is free will, you have to do the work. You have to put things in motion to get there. You don't just take a blob of mud and throw it against the wall and go, oh, look at that. That's really cool. No, that's your life. Why would you take your life and just throw it against a brick wall like a piece of mud? What you really want to do is you want to figure out, okay, what if I try this for a little while? How does it make me feel? Oh, this isn't good. Do I want this for my body? No, I don't want this for my body. Let's not do that. Again, let's try this. How many doses do I want of this? Oh, this feels good. Is it too much? What are my side effects? Ooh, I didn't take the time to do what I normally do when I do experiments. I didn't do it on me.
Yeah.
And I thought I was.
Yeah.
I even would say to her or others like her, oh, I'm trying. I've just increased my dosages. But I was doing it without any consequences or trying to evaluate what was happening. And I was putting all these things into my system all at once. And it wasn't a carefully planned way of doing it. So, so just remind people, when you're focusing on your own health care, good thing, that's growth.
Yep.
But to do it in a measured way where you can build in, take the time. There's no need to rush, rush, rush. Take time to know what it is that you're doing, and also it may have been beneficial, it turns out, to involve some trusted sources in the decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my physicians, some of them are just, you get a doctor every time you go in there. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a relationship with a regular healer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've heard of people that do, and I think it makes a big difference for them.
Yeah. That trust, that's difficult when you don't have trust with a doctor. And you have a different doctor every time. How do you build trust with someone that it's difficult? So yes, it's understandable.
I mean, I had
Yeah.
some physicians in the States that were very trustworthy, and
Mhm.
and even there, when you're in an HMO, depending on what kind of insurance you have, you
Yeah.
either get a regular doctor or you don't. But I think having someone that you can confide in on a regular basis,
Yeah.
with your health, that you trust, is a good thing to have.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And, especially if they support holistic medicine as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's the choice is yours as to who you pick as a doctor. So don't pick someone who doesn't believe in spiritual approaches. Don't pick someone who doesn't recommend acupuncture or chiropractic services. Don't pick someone who is just so old-fashioned,
Mm-hmm.
tied to old belief systems. Pick someone who understands holistic health and medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll work with you on a regimen.
Yeah.
It was too late for me.
Yeah. That's okay.
And
Mhm.
and I wasn't. That was my exit plan.
I knew that was. I knew it was.
I just didn't think it would be so early on.
I know. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but it was, and there's I have no regrets now. Of course not.
No. Why would
I
you?
am exactly where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Learning about all these things. All these things I've always wanted to know.
Yeah. Now you get to play with the big kids.
But I'm working on a plan for my next move.
Oh, good. Good.
But I'm taking my time. I'm in respite.
Oh, good.
And I'm being healed.
Yes. Good.
From things.
Good.
The human body, the body, they'll just take care of it their way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just an empty shell now.
Yeah.
Who you are is where you are now. And that's pure consciousness.
Well, that would be my big message to everybody is,
okay.
Yeah, is work with someone on a holistic plan for your overall health benefit, including your mental health. You're going to need it because there's a lot of stuff coming your way.
Yeah, we're kind of aware of that.
I think everybody was aware of it to a certain extent, and the message is getting out there. We all hear it all the time now, so it's the message is getting out there, not to get sucked into it, not to buy into it, not to focus your energy there. And so just that's true.
Yeah.
But is the planet going to explode the next 10 or 20 years? We don't want. No, I'm not. That's not what I'm getting from the world here. No.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
People will have more and more experiences. And now certain ones remembered. Of course, we would because we were Catholic at one time, but we remember revelations. We remember the prophecy in Revelations about how things would change during the end times. People will have more visions, more dreams. They'll have more abilities. They'll see more. They'll do more. That's been going on because we're always in the end times, because we're always in a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, Laurie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like we're always going through the end times because every cycle, every phase is an end of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And they just didn't realize back in the Middle Ages when they were drawing pictures of their visions that a submarine is going to be a submarine for, you're going to see it throughout all of history, you know?
Yeah.
This really is the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Dalibor. I'm gonna cut this short because I don't want to have her under for too long. It's exhausting sometimes for her. But yeah, just wanted to touch base with you.
Thanks for doing this, by the way, both of you.
Oh, absolutely.
For you know,
Mm-hmm.
I think there are quite a few people who are, because I've heard their thoughts.
Oh yeah.
So they need to let go.
Yes.
And this is more for them than it is for me.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And I know that too. And that's why we want to facilitate this, because we want to honor you. Yeah.
Closure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But thank you for taking it on. And
you're so welcome.
I would rather it be, I mean, I loved the others too, but it's always been good coming from your heart.
You know, it's pure.
Yeah, always. And always enjoyed being a part.
Thank you so much for doing that too, for being a part of it.
You know, I'd go on others too, but the home base.
Yes.
Was the gateway program, you know.
Yes, right. We sure enjoyed having you, and you will be sorely missed, your physicalness, but we know that you're only a thought away.
I'll be there all the time.
Oh, good.
And you can have your different ones to bring me in. Tell them to channel me. Tell them to bring me in.
Okay.
You know, tell them to, you know, I'll be there Friday.
Okay, good. Very good. Good.
All right.
All right, Dalibor, I love you, brother.
Love you too, Laurie, always.
Good.
And we did have some past lives together.
Yeah, I'm sure we did.
And yes, they were Nordic.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll talk about it sometime.
Yes, we will. All right, guys, I'm going to stop it right there because it takes her a minute to come back. So, and we've been on here for quite some time. Well, I hope you all found that fascinating. Teresa, I know you want to say something, but give me just a moment. This was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever experienced. And we've been working really hard to get to this point. So we're honored and just so pleased that we could bring this to you all in this soul tribe, so you could understand what we've been going through and the growth we've been experiencing. But to honor Dalibor and to actually bring him through is the highlight of my life. I kid you not. So thank you all for watching that, sticking around. Yes, it was amazing, wasn't it, Robert B? It truly was. Teresa, go ahead. I know you want to say something. You're on mute.
Test.
There you go.
Okay, sorry.
We hear you.
I just want to say to Robert V, Smoking and G, Max Vision, Trina Phoenix, Lucky Stone, and a host of others, Nina, Dalibor, Dalibor was for everyone, everywhere, all the time, and he still is. And he was quite fond of each and every one of you. He had a home with A7. It was always his platform, but he made himself available because he actually loved being with you, and he loved and enjoyed his time with you. He told me many, many times, you should hear this. Did you catch that conversation I had with G? Did you catch that conversation I had with Robert? Yes, I did this morning with coffee. I couldn't do it last night, but yeah, I did. You all did a great job. He just loved being with people. Now, this is a man who had a stroke and lost his head of the stock exchange, manager of the bank. He was extremely successful in his career, and it got tanked within a year of his moving and relocating. It was part of his soul journey, but at the time it rendered him unable to perform the kinds of things that he really loved and enjoyed the most. And so he ended up in a very small, confined space. He didn't even have room for his bunny, okay? But he had room for us. And that's how he spent his time. And that's how he could give to others and get back what we gave him. So it was a mutual feeling of respect and trust. I have a closing prayer that I'd like to share. It's brief.
Absolutely.
And I wrote this after my last connection with him before the show a couple days ago, and I shared it with Laurie. Dalibor, wherever your soul may be, your magic is in your spark of energy and its expression. The way you speak about a topic with such passion and conviction, the people that get to feel your love and sincerity right from the depths of your soul, and the lives you touch as you move throughout the universe, the multiple universes and multiple dimensions, the way you make someone feel heard and accepted, how you greet others, the memories friends hold dear of all the adventures you have shared with us throughout the years. You leave magical impressions and pieces of you everywhere you go. Smoking and G knows this. She loves Dalibor. Your light energy ripples even when you can't see it. There are chat rooms and virtual rooms that light up from your presence. Eyes that sparkle, tummies that hurt, from all the laughter you have generated. Don't dull the spark that makes you shine, brother. Our world and the universe need it to be ever brighter still. May everlasting peace and love be with you, dear sweet soul brother. All our love and all our gratitude. Thank all of you for participating tonight in this celebration of Dalibor. We could be here for hours and still not cover everything this man was and meant to each and every one of us. He's up there with Ken now, too. Remember that. And all the other Soul Tribe members that we've known over the years that haven't made it, but have moved on according to their plan and their journey. They're all part of us. They're all here for us. And we are here for you. Okay? And thank you, everyone, for participating tonight in Dalibor just loves you. Don't feel, just reach out to him. He's available.
Yeah. There's one quick message from Dalibor to Smoking and G and Max Vision. The earth is round, it is not flat. We did go to the moon. So there you go.
He did say that. He said, holy shit, you wouldn't believe the stuff that I thought I knew that I really didn't. And then there was a whole bunch of shit that I knew. And I'm like surprised that I was right.
Yeah.
He said, but my God, the earth is round. It isn't flat.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you all for joining us. It's been our honor and a pleasure. And thank you for sitting through this. Thank you, everyone on the panel, Grandpa Brian, Nick, Jasmine, Sophia, Teresa, especially you, everyone in chat. So much love and deep appreciation
and shit
for you all being here. And shit. We'll
Well,
leave you
listen,
with that.
I
Yeah.
am gonna have. I've got 12 of his stories. I have
Okay.
another 15 to go. I think. There
Okay.
might be at least 15. Okay.
Well,
So-
you'll post that. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can find that on Facebook. So look for Andromeda 7, Teresa on Facebook. She'll have all that out there.
Yep.
All right, you guys, I don't know how we're going to top this next week, but hey, here we go. We just opened the door, didn't we, Teresa?
Pet
I
souls.
got an idea.
Pet souls.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, Sophia.
Since his favorite show, at least one of the top 5, is the remote viewing, maybe we should do that again to honor him.
Sure, we can do
Oh,
something
another
like
one.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
betcha.
that.
Uh-huh.
He really liked that show, and I know I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Rubber
Yeah.
ducky.
It's all good.
We'll have to talk about that for
Hey,
sure. Yeah.
I'm going to purchase one of those little rubber duckies, by the way.
Me too, man. Little vampire version
I think
of
we
it.
all
Yes.
need one.
I love that.
To
I'm going to
honor
make sure it
Dalibor,
has
we
a little
all need
cigarette
one on
holder
camera.
on it. Okay.
I don't trust you. Sophia will be squeaking hers. Wrong answer, snotty boy.
Someone's got to hold the torch of shenanigans around here.
Yeah.
It might as well be me. And when you, during the trance session, you had your hand up like you had a cigarette in your hand. I don't know if you noticed that, but it happened.
Oh, we all did. Nick
I'm
even
like,
said
hello.
that.
That was cool.
Nick,
Listen.
what happened to you? Okay.
Listen. So when I wasn't just noticing the hand gestures, I was noticing her speech patterns
Mhm.
and the speed of it. So
Yep.
I was like, this sounds exactly like how Dalibor would word things. And then as soon as I looked up, I saw smoke right on my, like, trailing on the monitor.
Wow.
I was like, no way.
Damn Skippy, right?
It tripped me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see,
Yeah.
when I watch it, I see, because I know me, that's what I see. I see more of me, you see. But you all see things that I don't necessarily pick
There
up on.
is part
but-
of you is part of it because you're part of that
Yeah.
connection. But there's so much of him, the choice of words, the way he verbalized,
But
his
do you get it now
mannerisms.
how this works? Because I have never really fully understood it until I went through it. But it really is a little bit of him and a
Mhm.
little bit of me, and it creates a third
Yeah. Yes, it does.
something
Yeah.
that you're interacting with that has the
Right.
energy of both patterns of both. Yeah.
Exactly.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
Yes. Fascinating.
All right.
All right. Well,
Thank
on
you,
that
Laurie.
note, yeah, thank you all. Yes. Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Love you guys. Have
Bye.
a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.
See you, Beetlejuice and Nina the
Much
Mystic.
love.
Viking.
Later.